Okay, today I am going to read you guys a story. It's called Mine All Mine. See the little squirrel?
I think I've heard of that.
Have you heard of that story?
Okay. Nope. Emma.
All right. One cold winter's morning, a huge glistening snowflake landed on Little Squirrel's nose. "How wonderful," he said. Little Squirrel's brothers and sister gathered around. "Let's throw it into the sky and see how far it floats," said Big Squirrel, flicking it gently with his tail. See how he's got the snowflake balancing on his nose? "But it's my snowflake," whispered Little Squirrel. "Let's hang it up and watch it sparkle," suggested Bigger Squirrel, attaching the snowflake to a branch. "But it's my snowflake," replied Little Squirrel, a little louder this time. Think he's getting mad?
Yes.
"Let's bury it," said Biggest Squirrel, "and see who finds it first." "But it's mine!" shouted Little Squirrel. Little Squirrel's family quickly disappeared. Why do you think they disappeared? Go find another snowflake? Why do you think that they disappeared?
Because he was being mean to
Because he was mean to him? Because he yelled at him, right? Yeah. Later, Little Squirrel had an idea. He collected all the twigs he could find, and with the huge glistening snowflakes scampered up a tree. All day long he worked, piling up the twigs, one on top of the other, until he'd made a nest. He's going to hide the snowflake all to himself. Being stingy. That night, Little Squirrel sat alone in the nest with his snowflake. "Mine, all mine," he said, and he went to sleep happy. Snuggled up with his snowflake. The next day, when he woke up, Little Squirrel thought he could hear a bird singing her song. He put his ear to the twig wall and tried to listen, but the wall was too thick and the sound was muffled. So he sat back down and stared at the snowflake instead. "Mine, all mine," he said to himself. Do you think he's starting to kind of get lonely sitting in there by himself?
Yes.
Yeah?
Shouldn't the snowflake melt by now?
Well, if it's really, really cold outside, it may not. In the afternoon, Little Squirrel noticed a crack in the twig wall. If he looked carefully, he could just see the others slipping and sliding in the snow. He wanted to join in, but sat back down and looked at the snowflake instead. "Mine, all mine," Little Squirrel sighed, feeling just a tiny bit sad. He missed his family. Is he starting to realize that maybe he shouldn't have been stingy with his family?
Yes.
Yeah. Later on, Little Squirrel was hungry. He was sure everyone would be enjoying a feast, sharing all the food they had gathered throughout the day. See, he's starting to get hungry. You think that his family will let him go and eat some food with them?
No.
No? You don't think so?
No, because he's being stingy and they're going to treat him less than...
Would you let him? If he was being stingy to you, would you let him?
No.
You wouldn't?
I would.
You would? I think it would still be nice of you to let him. Even though he was being stingy, you should still let him. That would teach him a lesson, huh? Not to be stingy. Yeah. Little Squirrel called out to them, but no one answered. Perhaps they have forgotten all about me and my snowflake, he thought. Little Squirrel looked around his nest, and then, with a 1, 2, 3, he gave the twigs a mighty push. As the nest broke open, the snowflake floated down. I think he's had enough. What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah?
Got karma.
He got karma? Landing on the snowy forest floor, the snowflakes started to roll, getting bigger and bigger and faster, and it rolled towards his family at the bottom of the hill. "Watch out!" shouted Little Squirrel. What do you think happened?
Ooh, it probably crashed a snowman.
It probably hit the tree. It maybe makes a squirrel man.
Did it crash into his squirrel man? Yeah,
Probably.
it might have.
Yeah.
And then, I'm sorry. Oh, it crashed into him.
There's more snowflakes.
Yeah,
Ooh, there's snowflakes.
I know. So it made more snowflakes. Ours, all ours? Asked Bigger and Biggest Squirrel. Ours, all ours, agreed Little Squirrel. And he hopped down from the tree to join the fun. So see, when that big snowflake rolled down the hill and it crashed, it made even more snowflakes. And he decided he'd share them that time, right? So did he learn his lesson?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Just caring.
He learned to share. Sharing is caring, that's right. All right, who can name the characters in the story? Who's the characters? Emma? Little Squirrel? Who's another one?
Big squirrel.
Big Squirrel? Who's another one?
Bigger squirrel.
Bigger Squirrel? One more, Sophie.
Snowflake.
That would be a character. Devin?
Biggest.
Biggest Squirrel. Very good. All right, why did Little Squirrel's family quickly disappear at the beginning of the story? Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know?
Because he was saying that they were trying to have ideas and play games with the snowflake, but Little Squirrel said, "King, mine," and they got really mad, so they left.
Yeah, he shouted at them, so they left, right?
Hate him.
I don't think they hate him. I think they just kind of got their feelings hurt. How would you describe Little Squirrel at the beginning of the story?
Devin.
Sophie?
Stingy.
Yeah.
Share.
That's right. He was being stingy. He wouldn't share with them. So he was stingy at the beginning of the story. So let's compare him to how he was at the end of the story. How was he at the end of the story, Jackson?
Nice.
Yeah, he had decided not to be stingy anymore, right? So what can we decide from the story that the author is trying to tell us? What's the author trying to tell us? What lesson is he trying to tell us?
To not be stingy.
That's right. To share, right? Always share with your friends. Well, guess what? I have some snowflake cupcakes that I'm going to share with you guys. How about that? And I have a coloring sheet and some snowflake stickers. So, if we go back to our desk real nice and quiet, I'll get those passed out to you, okay?